In this video, I'm explaining 5 B2B SEO quick wins you can implement for immediate results within the next 7 days and start seeing gains from these results within 30 days or less. The first is to add FAQ sections to your site. I've talked about these numerous times, and the value here is ranking your website for relevant keywords and phrases that your potential customers are actually already searching for. And there are a number of different ways to implement this. And there are a number of factors to keep in mind as you're working to implement this. First is making sure that you're using structured data or schema markup as you're adding this information to your site. So you want to have the question itself and then the answer answered exactly after the question, or immediately after, I should say, and also using code markup in the back end. So it's easy for search and AI to understand the question and the answer. A good spot to put these would be something like your service pages or application pages, or even your product collection or category style pages. There are a number of different questions you can put on these as well, and a number of ways to find these questions too. So first, as an example, let's look at something like metal fabrication. Talked about this example numerous times here. And one way to do this would be to use a keyword tool and go into the question section here and look at the questions that people are asking. Now, in some cases, these wouldn't make much sense to have. What is metal fabrication? Somebody who's looking for services related to metal fabrication probably already understand that, and this is probably not a great question to use. But something about sheet metal fabrication, how it's different, that may be a good question if you're talking about your sheet metal service. Another way to get questions people are already searching is to do a Google search for and you may need to test a couple different phrases before you get these results here, but doing a search and scrolling down to the people also ask section. And in here, these are questions that people are already asking. And there is a tip here for this to get additional questions from here. So for example, initially we see 4 questions here. If you click on the drop-down arrow and click it again, additional questions show up. And some of these don't make sense. Like if you are a CNC machine shop and you're offering those services, you don't really care probably to talk about being employed as a CNC machinist unless you have a page about that. But otherwise, you can just click these numerous times and you can click the same ones over and over again. And what happens is additional questions keep popping up. And then you can sort through this list and see what questions would make sense to have on your site or on your page marked up correctly and have a chance to rank not only in this people also ask section, but rank better in general organic search and AI searches too. Because as you see here, some of these are pulled from websites. Other of these show up in the AI overviews right here. So this is something that is extremely helpful to get additional traffic, especially if you have highly technical or helpful information that can be added into these sites. Quick win number 2, exact keyword matching. And I see this time and time again as well, where the title on the individual page or service page you want to rank for is not optimized as well as it could be. Instead of having something broad like coding solution, our services, using something like industrial coding services or industrial coding for marine applications or whatever the case is, making it so that it's very specific for what you're offering and what that page is about is often going to make it easier for you to rank for the keywords you want to rank for. And as an example, if we let's go back to metal fabrication. And let's look at metal fabrication services here. And we can just see, so like this example here for Jamar Company, their title is just fabrication services. And Google or AI is smart enough to understand probably that they offer metal. Let's see. So they do have custom metal fabrication on this page here as well. And multiple metal is shown 8 times on this page. But if we go back to the URL structure as well, it's jamarcompany.com/fabrication services. There's no information there about metal, and there's no information in the actual title about metal as well. And the number 1 ranking site here, metal fabrication. Number 2, metal fabrication. Number 3, metal fabrication. And they just have fabrication. And again, we have other opportunities here, sheet metal fabrication. So this is not a guaranteed you're going to outrank all your competitors if you have your title optimized. But it is something that can help, especially if you have other factors in place and your site is optimized well. Quick win number 3, creating industry and application pages. And this is massively beneficial, especially if you have a lot of different industries you serve and a lot of applications for your products or services. The value of these pages is targeted lead generation. So you're working to build content specifically related to and explaining how you can serve your ideal customers and the industries you work in the applications you provide or the applications that your products or services work in as well. And then as your customers are searching for how your industrial automation works with food processing, or if they're looking for quality control systems for aerospace manufacturing, your content is hyper relevant for those terms and is more likely to rank not only for a term like this, but also some of the more broad terms and the questions and answers that you have on these pages too. Building these pages, optimizing them correctly, and making sure they're set up is going to make it much easier for you to rank for these highly, highly valuable keywords and phrases that would make sense for you to rank for. Number 4, fixing thin content pages. This is extremely prevalent as well. And the key here is getting content on the pages that you want to rank for, because it's going to be easier for you to rank for all of these terms if you have those keywords and phrases on those pages. And as an example here, instead of just having a page that is optimized for metal fabrication, and this is probably not the best example because there are so many here, you would not have a single page that's optimized for almost 10,000 keywords probably. But even if let's drill this down a little bit further to sheet metal. So now if we look at sheet metal fabrication, there are 2,300 words still, 29,000 searches per month, 74,000 global searches. Let's look at even custom here. So now we have custom metal fabrication, 1,000 words, 1,050, 12,000 searches per month, 28,000 global searches. This is something that is starting to make a little bit more sense. You can filter through this list and optimize for the keywords and phrases that make most sense for you. And you don't need to include location services if you're not specific in a location, but having all of these keywords and phrases that you want to rank for and optimized correctly within your content is going to make it easier for you to rank for the keywords and phrases you want to rank for. And the biggest key here is making sure that you don't just dump a bunch of junk content. You want this to be useful, relevant content that has helpful information and information that if someone were to read it, that it makes sense. In most cases, somebody's not likely going to read 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 words of content on your site. But setting up the pages for conversion and having that content there in case somebody does want to read it is going to make it easier for you to rank. Quick win number 5, improving internal linking. And this one is one of the massive opportunities as well. And the way to do this effectively is to first figure out your site structure. You need to understand how your content works together and which pages are the most effective or most authoritative pages that you want to focus on from an SEO perspective and from a rankings perspective. And to illustrate this, I have this board here on Miro that I've used this in a different video. And the structure here is as follows. So we have materials we fabricate, and this would be a primary service page on your site talking about all the different materials you can work on and how your process works basically. And you would have a section on this page talking about each of these different fabrication services or materials. So you'd have a little section about stainless steel, galvanized steel, and so on. So each of these would be a section on your materials page. Then you would have individual pages for each of these as well. So you'd have a stainless steel fabrication page individually and a galvanized steel. And each of these, again, would be individual pages on your site that you would talk in more detail about the specific material here and how you work with this material, use cases you have, case studies, clients, things like that. Then what you would do is link from these pages, your stainless steel fabrication page, to your materials with fabricate page. And you can link back and forth between these two because it would make sense. In that little section you have on this materials with fabricate page, links to your stainless steel fabrication. So it would be something like, for more information about our stainless steel fabrication services, check out this page. So you would link all of these back and forth to each other. And then the other thing to do here as well, to build up this relevancy, is as necessary, and if it makes sense, linking these pages together as well. So if you're talking about stainless steel and the differences between fabricating stainless steel and fabricating galvanized steel, you can link between these as well. Same thing here. How does aluminum fabrication differ from stainless steel? So on. So you get the point. So you're creating a little web here, basically, for search engines to best understand how all of this content and all of these pages on your site relate to each other, and using anchor text that is optimized. So an anchor text is the text that you would use as you are writing information. So let me just show you this as an example. So if we have, let's say you're on your stainless steel page. So this is the stainless steel, and you would say our aluminum fabrication services work these metals, because I obviously don't know much about metal fabrication, our aluminum fabrication services. And this then would be a link. So it would be underlined and in blue or whatever color your site uses. And I don't know why this line is there either. So there we go. Now on your stainless steel page, you have a link to your aluminum fabrication services page and so on. This is the structure to use when you're building your site and figuring out how your content relates to each other and working to build internal links to build relevancy and help algorithms understand how your content relates to each other and the keywords and phrases your content should be ranking for. Hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, subscribe to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And that's it. I'll see you on the next one.